know who needs to hear this today, but fats don't make you fat. Today we're going to be speaking about the importance of fats. Fats are just as important as proteins and carbs. In fact, when it comes to the macronutrients, proteins and carbs and fats are all three as equally as important as the other one. But fat, out of all three, gets the most bad rap. This is justified because some fats are really unhealthy for you. But just like carbs, not all fats are bad for you. Some fats are better for you than others, sure. But not all fats are bad for you. Some can actually even promote good health. Knowing the difference between good fats and bad fats can actually help you determine which to avoid and which to eat in moderation, and which ones are actually good for you. Instead of taking the chemical route and explaining to you what is actually in fats, I decided that I'm going to be explaining to you the different types of fats, what to avoid and what to eat in moderation. What are bad fats, what are saturated fats, what are polyunsaturated fats, and what are trans fats. Everything you need to know. Research is continually evolving around the topic of dietary fats. But some facts are just clear. Dietary fat, also known as fatty acids, are found in both animals and plants. Certain fats have been linked to have negative effects on people. But some other fats have been linked to have significant health benefits on some other people. Fat is as essential to your diet when it comes to proteins and carbs and providing your body with energy. In fact, certain bodily functions actually rely on the presence of fat. For example, some vitamins actually require fat to dissolve and be absorbed by the body to provide it with nutrients. So how does fat make you fat? Well, actually just the same as proteins and carbs. Eating too much of it will lead to excess amount, which will lead to weight gain. It's not what's in it, it's how much you eat of it. Foods and oils contain a mixture of fatty acids. The certain type of food source that contains the most amount of one certain fat can actually determine whether it's a good fat or a bad fat. Bad fats are two types of fats: saturated fats and trans fats. These have been known to cause potential harm to your overall health. These types of fats are solid at room temperature. Examples would be butter, shortening, margarine, and beef fat. Let's dwell a little bit in just saturated fats. You don't need to avoid them. They're mostly found in animal products. Saturated fat food sources include things like fatty cuts of beef, pork, and lamb, dark chicken meat or even the chicken skin, and then tropical oils, things like coconut oil or palm oil. It even includes high-fat dairy products, things like butter, milk, and cheese. Saturated fats don't have to be avoided in your diet, but you have to eat it in moderation and eat it sparingly, because it is linked to increase your blood cholesterol levels, which in turn can lead to serious heart problems in the future. Now that we've discussed the first bad fat, saturated fats, let's discuss the second bad fat, trans fats. Avoid trans fats at all costs when you can, if you can. Trans fats are really bad for you. Trans fat appears in food that contain partially hydrogenated vegetable oils. Trans fat food sources include things like fried foods, which is donuts and french fries, and then margarine, and also baked goods. This is things like cookies, cakes, and pastries. And believe it or not, in processed snack foods, things like crackers and microwavable popcorn. Trans fats are all kinds of bad for you. They lower blood cholesterol levels as well as increase the risk of inflammation within your body, which is not very good for your body. Can we not eat margarine, and should we only be eating butter? No, not all margarine is bad for you. Only some margarines are made with hydrogenated ingredients. So when looking for your margarine, just make sure that the label states no hydrogenated ingredients. Trans fats are not only found in these food sources. The main problem is labeling laws actually allow companies that can round down to 0% of trans fat foods to claim on the front of the packaging no trans fat foods. And it's not illegal, despite it containing hydrogenated oils. This is a problem because you might be eating all these bad fats and you don't even know it. So the biggest tip or word of advice that I can give you is ignore the front of the packaging and read your ingredient list. Now that we've distinguished the two types of bad fats, let's talk about good fats. So the good types of fats would be considered monounsaturated and polyunsaturated fats. Don't worry, I'll explain. Doctors consider polyunsaturated fat and monounsaturated fat as good, hard, healthy fats. These are better fat choices for your overall diet. Now it's important to remember that these types of fats are considered to be liquid at room temperature. An example of that would be vegetable oil. So what is monounsaturated fat? Monounsaturated fat is a very helpful fat that is found in various amounts of foods and oils. It's actually a fat that improves your blood cholesterol level. Monounsaturated food sources include things like vegetable oils, which would be your peanut oil and olive oil, avocados, peanut butter and almond butter, which is a personal favorite, and then you get most nuts, things like cashews, almonds, pecans, and peanuts. So now that we know the one good fat as monounsaturated fats, what are polyunsaturated fats? Polyunsaturated fats are known as essential fats. This is because it cannot be made by our bodies. It has to get it from food sources that we eat. Now, food sources that contain polyunsaturated fats are mainly plant-based foods and oils. A certain type of polyunsaturated fat is omega-3 fatty acids, a term I'm pretty sure we're all quite familiar with. Omega-3 fatty acids are mainly found in fatty fish sources like salmon, sardines, and trout. Is omega-3 fatty acids only found in fish food sources? No, omega-3 is actually also found in flax seeds, canola oil, and walnuts, but obviously to a much lesser degree than it is found in fish. Omega-6 fatty acids is another form of a polyunsaturated fat. These are found in food sources like tofu, soy nut butter or roasted soybeans, walnuts, seeds like pumpkin seeds, sunflower seeds, sesame seeds, and vegetable oils. Okay, so now that we know the difference between good fats and bad fats, it's a good time to mention that fats above proteins and carbs take the longest to digest within your body. This means that you remain fuller for a longer period of time. I dare you to try it out. I had a piece of avocado toast the other morning and it kept me full until lunch. Meantime, I've had oats over the last couple of days and I need a snack in between breakfast and lunch. It really is a big difference. Good fats can be so beneficial. Healthier fats are an important part of your diet, but be sure to consume fats in a moderate amount because fats are still high in calories. So if you have too many, just like proteins and carbs, you're going to end up gaining weight. Just be sure to do everything in balance. So in conclusion, trans fats are actually harmful to one's health, whereas saturated fats aren't actually linked to any heart diseases. They're not as healthy as monounsaturated and polyunsaturated fats can be. Let's look at some food sources that contain different amounts and types of fats. Fruit and vegetables are practically fat-free, but you do get your certain ones that aren't. Things like olives, coconut, avocados, and deep-fried potatoes are all high in fat. Whole grain cereals, pasta, rice, or even other grains are all low in fat. But food sources containing white cake flour, which is processed flour, are all high in fat. Dry beans, peas, nuts, and certain seeds are low in fat. But you do get certain ones that are high in monounsaturated fats, which we all know by now are good fats. Things like peanuts and peanut butter. When it comes to buying meat, it all depends on the certain type of cut that you buy. Lean red meat is healthier for you than normal red meat. But then again, poultry, which is chicken, is lower in fat than red meat. But chicken is higher in fat than seafood. And so the list goes. Meat, poultry, fish. When it comes to buying dairy products, one always tends to look for the low fat or the skim milk. I'd hate to be the bearer of bad news. There's not really much of a difference between high fat and low fat dairy products. Just choose whichever one you feel tastes better. And that concludes our macronutrient series. I do feel it is my responsibility though, just to mention to you that all three of these food sources, there's nothing that you can cut out or increase that makes you lose weight. Losing weight is not necessarily about what you eat, but how much you eat of it. Make sure that you eat everything in moderate amount. The only way to lose weight is get in a calorie deficit. A calorie deficit is when you exercise or use more energy throughout the day than what you consume. That is the only way that you can lose weight. There's no herbal tea, superfood, or anything out there that can actually burn fat. I've had so much fun researching all these different things. I hope that you can understand a little bit more about what you eat, when you eat, and why you are eating it.